can I ask you some questions?
Questions? Yes, absolutely.
Y'all wanna ask her some questions about what it was
Anything you
like?
want to know that I know.
Come on, guys, don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Jalen? So where did you come from in life?
Where did I come from in life? I came from my mother and father in life. But where did I live outside of Wiener? I lived in California for 43 years. I was a registered nurse. And when home health became very popular, I took that. I went out to people's houses, and there were people with different cultures, different from all over the world. That's how I learned that everybody may or may not have the same perception you have about being sick or dying. It was a good experience. Change was good. It made me think of a sensitivity class that I had in college, where for 6 weeks I had to live in a house with 4 of the women of different cultures. And you had to get to know each other, because at the end of the 6 weeks you had to write a paper. So you had to talk to each other. Okay, you learn a lot.
All right,
How did segregation change you?
how did segregation change?
How did segregation change me? I think it changed me in a positive way, in that I realized early that all white people aren't bad, all black people aren't bad, all black people aren't good, all yellow people aren't bad. It made me see people for who they are, beyond the color of their skin. Are there good people on the inside? I started looking at this. I started reading how they were. How did they treat other people that I saw around? Were they good people? Before then, you only saw the Ku Klux Klan riding into black people's houses, shooting and killing. And it's just a negative image in your head. But with segregation, it opened up the door for me to see people and not color, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Do you think segregation was a good thing or bad thing? Because in the story you told when you came to Winter
Talk a little bit louder, I can barely hear you.
When you came, do you think segregation was a good or bad thing? Because when you came to Winter High, you're asking your parents to go back to Booker T.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think integration was a good thing. I didn't at the time. I thought it was the meanest thing they could have done to me. But now I know it was the best thing, because my father and grandfather said, we're not sending you to that school for them to give you anything. In other words, I didn't come here to hear or to be given a grade or given a good job. The only purpose of them sending me to this school is that I could hear and I could read from the same books she was reading from, which at Booker T. Washington, they were not the same. They were not. So separate was not equal. My first year here, I had to work really hard. I had to catch up to where they were.
Okay. All right,
Oh, what, Betty?
all right. Tell them about how you got to school. I mean, you know.
Well,
the-
when I was going to
the-
Booker T. Washington, I had to walk, because I have 2 sisters, set of twin sisters, and a brother. We had to walk from our house, wait for the school bus. We had to ride 19 miles to Jonesboro to school, go to school all day, get back on the bus, ride another 19 miles back home. Yes, dear.
Okay,
Have you ever lived in Wheeler?
yeah, that's what she lived.
Where?
In Wayner, where did you live in Wayner?
Oh, I lived on a farm.
Where, what is it, Brown Rice?
Southern Brown Rice.
Okay, there. Yeah, I lived on a farm. My father, see these nice tractors that you guys have now with the air conditioners and the phones and stuff. That wasn't the case. In the summertime, we were out of school. My father would have me and my 2 sisters and even my little brother on those tractors plowing and stuff. I'd be eating so much dust. I'd say, God, please let school hurry up and come back so I can get off this farm. You know, I lived on a farm. I went fishing in the summertime. Are there any Greenos here? Anybody's last name Greenos? No? Okay. Well, we lived down the road from a family, white family called Greenos. We'd all get together, get our fishing poles and get on the fishing hole and fish, you know, all day. But I lived on a farm.
But, one thing, okay, go ahead, then.
Did you ever go to the Victory Theater with her?
Did you ever go to the Victory Theater, the movie theater? They know about the movie theater here in town. Did you ever
Yeah,
go?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Blacks sit upstairs, upstairs. And whites sit downstairs. And I don't know what that was all about. But it's just a color thing. The biggest thing is your skin color. Lord, if some of this beautiful brown was to rub off on Patricia, I'd probably die quicker than she would. I taught a class one time, this diversity class, and I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but I brought in a dozen of eggs, and the eggs, you've seen eggs. Some of the eggs are white, some of them are light brown, some of them are dark brown, all of them color, right? But when I finished the talk, I brought out the eggs. I said the only difference, look at these eggs. You see any difference? The only thing they could point out was that the eggshells was a different color. And then we broke them and put them in a bowl. I said, okay, pick out the white eggs. Pick out the brown ones. Couldn't pick them out, they're all eggs. So we're all people, we just have different coats on the outside.
Anybody else going to ask a question? Okay.
What was the scariest movie you watched? Oh.
The one she was in. No, I don't, by nature, I don't watch scary movies. It's all actors and, there's too much of terrible things going on in real life for me to go to the TV for stuff.
Of all the things that you've experienced in history, what's the one you think stands out the most?
Meeting you.
She has a story that she told about me. They're all, and I don't know, Esther is fun. I told them tomorrow I was going to tell stories about you that you're not going to tell.
That's because she lies. No, scary movies have never been my thing. I think the world is becoming so scary now. I don't need to look at TV. Just listen to the news. Terrible enough.
Anybody
yes,
else?
Sweetie.
When you lived in Wiener,
When I lived in Wiener.
did you like living here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even the driving the tractors. Because I knew on Saturdays, my dad would give us money and come to the movies and buy stuff. But that hard work, I didn't know it at the time. I thought they were just getting free labor. But that hard work taught you good work ethics, values. If you're going to do something, do it right, If you're supposed to be at work at 7 o'clock, don't come in at 7:05. Which helped me when I became a nurse and I worked in the hospitals. If your shift's supposed to start at 11 o'clock, you better be there at 10:45, because a late nurse ain't gonna be happy with the others. So, it worked out. But yes, I liked living in Wiener. I was free to play and have a great time, and no problems with my childhood at all.
Was there a segregated school here before you went to Booker T? Was there there wasn't?
Not during her time. There was something way before her
Way
time.
before her time. Where was it located?
See, even though segregation came into Arkansas, and even when President Eisenhower, and then I think, Eisenhower signed it, that was in 1954. I didn't come to Wiener High until 1965. That's a long time.
When we interviewed Lucy Bell, at one time, way before our time, there was a kind of a concrete looking block place that they tried to do a school of that was by the rice dryer. And I scanned a picture of it
I
there.
saw it, I
don't
just
if
didn't
you
know where it was
that,
located.
Esther.
Okay.
But it wasn't there very long.
Now, remember I told you how my uncles, my great uncles, had migrated here and they stopped? Okay. My father, before I came to Winter High, I had, he was a farmer, I had heard the names like Downing and Sidney and Sitzler and Keller, and I heard these names. I knew they were farmers, but that's all I did, I just heard them. My father says, he was the only little black boy in this town. And he said he was allowed to sit in the classroom, but he couldn't ask questions. Because I couldn't figure out why my dad was smart in math. If he didn't go to school, how did you learn to be so smart? I mean, he could count in his head while we were bigger and figuring out what he wanted. He could count it in his head. And so he said he was allowed to, sit in the classroom. He just wasn't allowed to ask any questions. So when they were boys, he used to play with Mr. Keller and, all of these guys. They were all kids. So I said, oh, okay.
This is the Mr. Keller your dad played with. This is his great-granddaughter.
Hello. So you hear these stories. But don't you like living in Wiener? It's okay, huh? Okay.
I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it for them.
Go ahead.
Because you and your brother and your sisters have all been successful. You all have an education.
Yes.
So how did your dad influence that?
By telling you that the way off this farm is through those school doors. That's real simple. Okay. We didn't raise, my father and grandfather did not raise cotton and stuff. There was soybeans and rice, right? So you would think after you've done your plowing and all that stuff, you're good. No. He would go out and find work. For me and the twins, he would go out and he'd come in there and he'd say, well, get up, Miss Miller gonna pick you up, and you're like, pick me up for what? He'd send us out to chop cotton, all right? It wasn't even our cotton, right? But you were able to keep all the money that you earned, all right? And he says, if you don't like this kind of work, the way to do that is through those school doors. That's all he had to say. Nobody wanted to do hard work all your life.